All right, guys, welcome back. We're talking UFC 276 today. Massive card. Wish we can cover all the fights. We're covering a ton, but not all of them. First, let's say thank you to our sponsor, Tampa Blast Home Team Do Good, TampaBlast.com for more information. Let's get right into the main event here. We got Israel Adesanya, 32 years old, 22-1. Different books, different prices. Minus 450 favorite, though. And he's coming off beating Whitaker and Vettori, but both by decision. He's becoming more of a point fighter, it seems like. He might not like to hear that, but that's what's happening. He's going up against Jared Cannonier, ranked number 2 right now, plus 360 underdog. He's 15-5. He's 38 years old, and he's coming off beating Brunson and Gastelum. Tom, big favorite here in Adesanya. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I'm going to have to lean with the favorite as well. I'm going to go with Israel here by decision. But if he used to get strikes, if he used to win by strikes, I would think maybe round 1 or 2 would be the target area for him to win by strikes against Cannonier. But if he doesn't do that, my primary pick would be a decision win here. I think Cannonier's path is to take Israel down and do what Jan did to him, but I just don't think he'll be able to because I think Vettori is actually better at that than Cannonier, and Vettori wasn't able to beat Stylebender.
Right.
So I got to go with Stylebender, probably by decision, but he could get some strikes in the early rounds possibly and finish it.
Yeah. I've been watching what guys say about this one. Some guys are trying to say Cannonier's got like a shot. He's been patient. Watch what he's done against a few of these guys. I don't think this ends well for Cannonier. I think he's lost whenever he fights the top of the top guys. We saw what happened. He came down. He's like, I'm 4 out of 5 in the middleweights. Yeah, but when you face Whitaker, what happened? Whitaker, to me, is top of the food chain. He's right with Adesanya. And he didn't face Vettori, like you said. 38 years old. This guy, his day in the sun is today, and that's it. I don't think it ends well. He's too quick, better kicks, more experience in this kind of spotlight. And if you look at his past, he beat all the grapplers. He beats the elite strikers. I mean, just take a look at this guy's record here, man. His one loss was up in weight class. So I know Cannonier fought up in weight, but now he's lean and trim. He's not going to be able to do what Jan did to him, as you mentioned. He's not that same size as Jan anymore. He's a smaller guy now. He really stays in. And if you look at Cannonier in the past, they didn't have him fighting these elite strikers like that. They had him beating Brunson. They had him beating Gastelum. They had him beating... And Gastelum, yeah, you could say he's a striker, but you don't know which Gastelum's been showing up lately. He beat Hermanson. He beat Anderson Silva on the way out for him. Then when he was back in middleweight, he lost to Reyes. He lost to Blachowicz. I don't really see the victory here, the path to victory here for Cannonier. Yes, he could have that one-shot knockout power, but Adesanya showed he's got a pretty damn good chin if he does get hit. He's probably the most elusive guy in the UFC right now. The only thing is this a boring point fight? Adesanya, is he the most exciting guy to watch anymore?
No.
The
answer is no.
The answer
He's not the most exciting guy.
He's not. You're right. The answer is no. It might be eerie, but besides the point, Adesanya has become... He doesn't take as much damage. He sits back. He kind of does the Anderson Silva, John Jones. He point fights guys right now, and he's phenomenal at doing it. So no question for me. Do I like the line? No. But do I think Adesanya is the rightful favorite? Absolutely. I think he gets it done here. I think probably decision, but potentially I'm going the other way. If he wins by strikes, it's going to be after Cannonier starts to fade out a little bit. Maybe round 4 or 5, where we know Adesanya goes 5 rounds, no problem. All right, well, let's get right into the card market. That's where we're at because we'll start with Cannonier. It's short and simple. I got a sell rating on Cannonier. I would not be out there picking up his cards. Izzy, though, is a screaming buy. Dude is a generational talent. Got a lot of fanfare. He's got a lot of flair, and he's printed in museum. And even his base cards are super hard to get. His rookie card, So you got to take a look at that. And you got to get this dude while you can, because he's going to be the next great. He already is a great, but he could potentially be the next top guy, like a GSP or a Jones or however you want to describe it. I mean, that's why they're rushing one of our next fights up. I mean, you don't think they're putting Bajeda fighting the number 4 guy for no reason. They want to see that. They want that money fight, somebody who has a shot. All right, that's my opinion on that one. Let's move right on, because we got another 2 guys that potentially are the greatest featherweights of all time here. Both have it different ways. Alexander Volkanovski, 33 years old. He's 24-1. This guy has not lost in a very long time. He's a 2-1 favorite here at -200, and he's coming off the win against the Korean Zombie, where he smoked him, and Ortega, where he showed why he's the champ. And then he had 2 wins against Holloway before that. And then we got Max Holloway, ranked number 1, +170 underdog, 23-6, 30 years old, super young for the experience and fights this guy's had too. And he last
beat,
like
Aldo, man. Yeah. He's like an Aldo.
Last beat Yair Rodriguez and Calvin Kattar in fashion in both of them. Tom, close fight, man. I'm not seeing the 2-1 here, but you just don't know. How do you got this one playing out?
You know, Volk has been more active, and you could see that he's progressing, and he's definitely working on his game. He's getting better. Max, you haven't had the opportunity really to see as much what work's been getting put in since we last saw him. I think that's one little disadvantage for people that are looking at who to pick on this fight. But for me, dude, one of my top 10 fighters, Max Holloway, man. I got to roll with Max, man. I thought Max won the last bout against Volk, and I thought the first one, I kind of was almost leaning with Max on that as well, but that one was closer. The second one, I was like, no way. I thought Max won. And I'm going with Max here. I'm going to go with Max by decision. Volk is very, very hard to put away. But I would love to see a finish. That'd be great. And like, just to double down on what was already said, it's just crazy that Max Holloway is only 30 years old.
30 years old. Yeah, he's a baby still.
That's nuts.
He's a baby.
It's nuts.
I mean,
but yeah, I'm rolling with Max, man. And I think maybe the time off could be good just for the old noggin.
Yeah, I mean, he did have the 2 fights, though. Him and Yair was a straight battle, though. He definitely took some damage in there.
Yeah, you got to recover, man, because you're taking a lot of hits in his fights, too. Like, he puts out crazy volume, but he also takes it.
He does. He's also never been KO'd. I mean, this fight is as close as it gets to me. I'm not seeing the 2-1 favorite. Both men just keep winning. Volk got the nod in the last 2. I agree. I didn't see it that way. I thought Volkanovski did enough in the first one. The second one, I thought Max Holloway did have it. And the first one, I knew Max was going to lose, because Max is outspoken about his depression, and his cousin, best friend, passed away right before that fight. You knew his head wasn't right in there. I just had that feeling it wasn't going to be good for him, because he's an emotional guy. You can see it. He wears his heart on his sleeve and everything like that. That's why people really like Max. But I agree. The second fight had him winning, close margins. Judges went the other way. It was a split decision, though. It wasn't unanimous. I think Max, though, if you watched, I was watching some of the press conference the other day just because Moby kept sending me this stuff, because Strickland was just going bananas. Max looks more fired up than I have seen him in a very long time. He looks very serious. I know the guy's a gamer. I think both of these guys are some of the best featherweights of all time. Who wins this fight might be the greatest of all time. I'm actually going out here with Max, too. And I'm going to take Max for a finish, which he's not really a finisher, but I think he's going to be more dynamic in this fight, going for that finish, using his cast iron chin as the weapon, just going right in the pocket against Volkanovski. I think he knows that he has to not leave it to the judges here, because he's had 2 fights where he felt he won, and he lost them both. So I think we're going to see a different Holloway in this fight. And I'm with you. I'm on Max to get his title back. I mean, take nothing away from Volkanovski. The guy could easily win, but I'm with you on this one. Max just looks like he's got the fire in his eyes. He's a gentleman, class act, and he's been acting up like not him normal self, but I like it. I'm in for it. Now, both men, card market here. These guys are as elite as they get. I mean, you really got to feel bad for either one of these guys if they take a loss in this one. Both guys really are class acts. I say these guys are both biased. Get your hand on some of these guys' rookies. Volkanovski's a little harder to find, as I think he was only printed as a chrome insert. He wasn't in just a base card, so it's a little bit different. Max Holloway, go get him while you can. The guy is a generational talent at 30 years old. He could even outlast Volkanovski if he loses here. You just don't know. All right, but enough about those guys. Let's go on to what everybody is waiting to see here. We got the middleweights. Sean Strickland, ranked number 4. He's 25-3. He's 31 years old. And this is a straight pick 'em right now at -110. Last beat Hermanson, Uriah Hall, and Jocko. He's going up against Alex Bejeda, who's 5-1. He's 34 years old. Like I said, 110, exactly the same. And he last beat Bruno Silva and Andre Michaelides. I mean, they know the talent level of Bejeda here. He is unranked, beat 2, I don't want to say bums, Bruno Silva's pretty game, but 2 unknowns. And now he fights the number 4 guy in the world. Tom, is this too quick, too soon, or what do you see happening?
I mean, I like it, but is it fair to everybody else that was in position ahead of him? Maybe not, but I like the matchup, and I don't think it's, throwing too far into the deep end for him to where he's going to just get punked. No way. I don't think that's going to happen. You got to remember, Alex Pereira also has 33-7 pro kickboxing record, and he had that one win against Izzy, but he's taken 7 losses too. He wasn't completely undefeated.
2 wins against Izzy. 2.
Oh, did he have 2? Okay, the 2 wins against Izzy, but he's taken 7 losses himself, so he is beatable. Where do I think the path for victory for Sean though is? I think he has a brown belt in BJJ. I think he should take Pereira down, drop your ego a bit, be a little humble, take him down, and sub him. Will I think Sean do that? Or do I think Sean's going to do that? Heck no. Sean is egotistical. He's going to want to stand and punch with this dude and just do jab city and get into a throwdown with this guy. And I think for that reason, Sean will lose. And I'm going to pick Alex by decision.
I kind of see this the same way. I've been watching Strickland this week. He says he might wrestle. I mean, he uses it a little more explicit language than that, but he says, I might just wrestle. Everybody's expecting me to throw strikes. I'm not sure if I believe him. I think Sean is the better MMA fighter by a long shot here. But does he want to go and wrestle and be boring and not put on a show for the fans, especially when he's never really had to do all this extra stuff now that he's on the pay-per-view event like this? In a top-tier fight, you could tell he's acting like Sean, but he's wild and crazy in the press conference and things that he normally doesn't have to do. Does that get to him a little bit? You just don't know. That kind of stuff plays effects on guys if they're not used to it. It takes time to get used to everybody in your face and all these new questions and reporters and everything like that. So I agree with you. I really don't like this fight either way. To pick a side, it's very difficult because you can really see both ways playing out in your head very easily. And quite frankly, Strickland has great stand-up. Does he have better than Bejeda? I doubt it, but he's got good stand-up too, and he might just want to do it. I think Bejeda, just because they want him to fight Izzy, they're rushing him up. I think no question, unranked to number 4 guy, they want fresh blood in the top guys. I'm taking Alex. I don't feel great. I think he gets it done. I think, as you mentioned, Strickland does not wrestle. He does not use his BJJ. And we see Bejeda get the finish here, even though Strickland has a phenomenal
chin.
Going
for a finish?
I think he gets the finish here. I'm
going by decision. I think he's going to outpoint Sean. But the thing is, Sean's very good at this too, so it's going to be close. And Sean's fights, in my mind, are not that exciting. He always has a lot of hype behind him, and then he goes into jab city and he jab, but he doesn't get a finish. He wins clearly, but he doesn't finish people that often. And he hypes it up like he's out for blood. He's out for blood, but he doesn't knock him out.
Right. He did
You
finish a
know,
few people though. He finished a few guys.
I
He
mean, recently, who has he finished?
he finished Brendan Allen.
Well, how many fights ago was that? Because Uriah Hall he didn't finish, and he didn't finish Joker either.
I mean, you're not gonna finish everyone. That's just how it
No,
is.
I
These
know
guys are
that,
elite.
but the talk beforehand is, I'm gonna get the finish. I'm gonna get the
Well,
finish.
they all say they're gonna
And
get the finish, but they don't all get the finish.
no,
But
I think Sean hypes it a little bit
I
more.
think
But
Bajeda gets the finish here. I mean, I think Strickland is a buy. He just got printed this year. He's a wild man. He's a fan favorite. I mean, guys ask him like weird personal questions because they know they're going to get these crazy answers that no one else could duplicate. I think the guy's for real, though. He is a top fighter. He's in the right ranking. He's in the right weight class now. I think he's a buy. Bajeda, not printed yet. I'm sure we're going to see him soon. Just if you look at Bajeda's kickboxing schedule, he's got 2 wins over Dustin Jacoby, who's a gamer too. He's got 2 wins over Israel Adesanya, and one's a KO. That's why everybody says one, because that's Israel's only KO ever. I mean, he's just an elite level monster at the middleweight. He is big, he is strong, and he's working on all aspects of his game. He's over at the
he's trading
Glover's
with
gym.
Glover.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm taking him. I think he's got it.
Yo, but I just do want to say, like, even if Sean, which I think he will, just stand with Alex, I still think it's going to be a heck of a. It's going to be close.
Yeah.
But I'm going with Alex by decision here. But I think Sean standing is not his clear path. Is not the path to victory in my mind. But I could see him still winning the stand up.
I don't see him winning.
It's possible.
I think he's outranged. I think he's going to be. I don't want to say the slower man, but I think he has definitely a power disadvantage. He won't have the same range. I don't think he has as good a kicks as Bajeda. I think he's outgunned on the feet, but he definitely has a path to victory because he clearly has a wrestling / BJJ advantage on this guy. But
Yep.
as we mentioned, it's all about will he use it? We don't know. All right, guys, let's move on to another one. We got the unranked champ here. We got Sean O'Malley, who actually is ranked now at 13. He's a minus 300 favorite. He's 27 years old. He's 15-1, and he's on that 3-fight winning streak. Pretty much beating bums, though. He beat Holly and Paiva, Chris Mutino, not even with the company, Thomas Almeida, and his one solo loss, though, was to Cheeto. And Cheeto showed he is a top guy. He has climbed the rankings. Yeah. He is tough. I would have liked to see that fight play out a little bit more than it did, but whatever. He's going up against Pedro Munoz, who's ranked number 9, plus 250 underdog. 19-7 with 1 no contest. 35 years old, and he's 1 out of his last 5 with losses to Cruz, Aldo, Edgar, Sterling, and his solo win is Jimmy Rivera. I mean, this is a big step down, per se, in competition for Munoz, but he's been losing to all the top guys. So how does he do going up against O'Malley, who's never truly faced anyone at that caliber except for Cheeto, and he lost to Cheeto. So how do you see this one playing out? Does O'Malley got the goods or not? This is a real step up for him.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good fight. One thing worth noting is Pedro has never been finished. So I don't know if he'll get finished here, and he's been up against a lot of tough fighters.
Absolutely.
And he looks to be in really good shape, too. I saw him. He's looking pretty lean and like he's been putting in work. He's definitely not chilling. He also has 3 split decision losses. Out of his 7 losses, 3 of those are split decisions. So he could have easily been just 4 losses.
He almost finished Cruz in that one fight. That was close.
Yeah, dude, that Jimmy Rivera fight is what really put them both on the map for me in terms of what a scrap, because they fought twice, him and Rivera. And I couldn't believe when Rivera left the UFC. I was like, yo, how you letting that guy go, man? I liked Jimmy Rivera a lot, man. And I like Munoz too, he's game. But you know what? I'm going to go with the decision win by Sean O'Malley here, though. I'm going to go with Sean. I think he's going to be able to just get a little bit more damage and a little bit more striking in there.
Well, I'm surprised you're taking Sugar Show. Me, welcome to the Sugar Show, guys. I'm on O'Malley. I'm I'm an O'Malley fan. I'm a big O'Malley fan. You guys all know it. I think he's too fast. He's too talented in this spot here. Pedro fighting the top guys. I mentioned his losses because those, I mean, Aldo's considered one of the greatest of all time. Frankie Anger, former champ. Sterling is the champ. Cruz, former champ, climbing his way back up the ladder. I mean,
And Cruz is fighting Cheeto.
right, you can't really judge him there. There's just, it's not the same kind of talent. But, I mean, at the same time, he's losing those fights. I don't know. I just, Pedro's not an elite wrestler here, and I think that's what it would be to really beat O'Malley. O'Malley has that distance, that range down pat. He's so good and so crafty. If you can get leg kicks to him, okay. I mean, he'll say no, 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 but we saw it. Cheeto did it. Get those legs. He gets a little bit tentative. I mean, he's already broken his foot like 2 times in the UFC, so it's a little different here. But I don't see him going for the takedowns here, Munoz. That's not his game. I think O'Malley dances around as he always does. I think he gets the victory here. I'm leaning towards O'Malley being the first one to finish Munoz because O'Malley, he wants to please the fans. He's all about the knockout. He wants the walk-off knockout. And if he's the only one that finishes Munoz, he can run his mouth so much more, and he loves to do that. So I think he's really going to go for it. I think he's got to be careful of the leg kicks, and then he's off. I just agree. He's just got too much range control and everything like that. He's too fast. Pedro's starting to fade here. Yeah, I'm just not on it. All right, now Sugar Show cards. They've been going up steadily. It's yeah, I'm telling you, his cards have been going up. You look at his rookie autos, his rookie cards, slowly and steady, just 200, 300, 400, 5, and they just keep going up. I think they continue the upwards trends because these have been slow and steady, and that's what you really want to see. Came out in a beautiful set, 2018 Chrome. They actually printed him. I believe his are on-card autos. I'd have to check. I got some. I don't know how far up the ladder Sean goes, but we can get a much better feel after this fight to see if he's ready to fight all these guys, how he looks against Munoz, who's got a chin, who's got pretty good power and all the ability here, the experience of edge and everything like that. Pedro, hard sell right now. 1 out of his last 5. It's going to be hard to climb back up at all with that kind of record right now. All right, moving right on. We got, now guys, like I said, we can't cover everything, but we got welterweights. We got Ian Gary, 9-0, 24 years old. He's a -175 favorite right now, and he beat Darian Weeks and Jordan Williams. All right, he's going up against Gabriel Green, 29. He's 11-3, +150 underdog, and he last beat Johan Lanese and Philip Rowe, but he lost to D-Rod. And I'm just going to say, I think D-Rod beats both of these guys handily. They don't want to put Ian Gary up against D-Rod right now. So there's no shame in losing to that one. But, Tom, how do you see this one playing out? This is a little bit more difficult here.
Both these guys under 30, with Gabe being 29 and Ian being 24, like you said. One thing worth noting is Gabe has only gone to a decision twice in his 14 fights. So the other 12 were finishes in one form or another. He likes to scrap, and he loves the rear naked choke. So look for that if he gets the opportunity. That said, I'm not super impressed with Ian Gary. I mean, it's super impressive, obviously, being 9-0 at 24 years old in the UFC. But stacking up against the rest of the competition in the UFC and where you need to eventually get to, he's definitely not there yet, but I'm not saying he couldn't be there. I'm just not super impressed having watched him. I'm going to roll with him, though. I'm going with Ian because I think this other guy's going to want to strike.
Right.
And I'm going to go with Ian by strikes, round 1.
Round 1.
Or
it.
Yeah, or a decision.
Yeah. I think this fight is tailored for Ian Gary. This guy's young. He's vocal. Do I think he's the best? No. But I think he's growing. I think he's getting better and better. I think keeping him undefeated really helps his look. This kid is one of those guys that they could potentially push, like a Patty, like a Sean O'Malley, where if they bring him up slow. I mean, Habib was brought up very slow. A lot of guys don't realize how long Habib was in the UFC before anybody knew who he was. You bring this guy up slow. He's already well known. And you could really grow this guy into a good star here. 24, a couple more years. He fights a few more guys that aren't super high ranked. Give him some wins, really push this guy. I think they're going to try to do that. I think Green is just, he's missing a lot of skills. He's pretty durable, but I think like you said, Gary's got really good power. He actually has pretty good movement in there. He's got decent hands. I think we see Ian Gary with the finish too. I think he does it again. I think this one is designed for him to get the finish in the prime light. This is one of the biggest cards of the year. Everybody's going to be watching it. They know what they're doing. They want this guy on.
There's only one fight on this entire card that I would say I'm not that interested in. The rest are. This is a stacked card.
Right. So but that's why I think Ian Gary. They want him to win. They want this guy to win. This guy could be another cash cow that can be main eventing UFC fight nights in London per se.
Yes. Yes, that's good thinking.
And you wouldn't be mad about it. You want to see
or
him.
Being 3 down on the main and Patty's leading it. Who knows?
Right. I mean, you don't have to have a championship. Well, Patty's going to be. Those guys are pay-per-view. Those guys are pay-per-view. Yeah. But I think this kid can headline a fight night card by himself here. So I think they're setting this kid up nice. I think he gets the win. I think Green's in there to let Ian Gary, not let him win, but I think he's in there so Gary gets the victory here. They can keep pushing a 10-0 kid who wants to think he's Conor McGregor. We know he's not, but he talks like he is. So they're going to let him keep talking. They love that. Now, Green.
Of course, you can try to absorb some of his fan base.
He's trying. And he's got the pretty wife, and he's constantly on social media. Patty has his own fan base. He got the young kids. They love Patty.
Patty took a huge base that loved him from McGregor. Why being one of them?
Yeah, well, I think Green, I think we got time before we can even think about buying this guy. Not even printed. Gary just got printed. I think he's not that crazy priced yet. I think he's going to lose when he goes up in competition one of these days, but I think that's a good move for him. It'll be a humbling point where he can grow and learn and get better from. I think he's a speculative buy right now, Ian Gary. He's cheap enough and easy enough to grab. All right, let's move on to the guy I am very excited to watch. I've been waiting for this guy to make some more appearances here. He's very slow with his fights here. I think it might be COVID just slowed him down.
They're all canceled.
They're
all canceled, that's why.
Well,
he had like 4 fights canceled, I think, in a row.
Yeah, so I'm excited. We got Brad Tavares, ranked 12, plus 125 underdog. He's 34 years old. He's 19-6. He's on that 2-fight winning streak, beating Omari Akhmedov, and he beat Shoeface, Antonio Carlos Jr. Right? He's going up against Dricus du Plessis, minus 145 favorite. He's 28 years old. He's 16-2, and he's undefeated in the UFC with finishes of Trevin Giles and Marcus Perez. Tom, how do you see this one playing out? Tavares is game, boy. Duplessis should bring his A game for this one.
South Africa in the house. Brad's been looking great, so this is going to be no walk in the park, I'll tell you that. Brad has actually been looking the best I've seen him. He's had kind of like a resurgence or a rejuvenation in a way. He's definitely, this is huge for him because this could put him up into potential striking range because this guy, du Plessis, is no joke. He's never gone to a decision, du Plessis, out of 18 fights. So I don't see a decision happening. No. What do I think? What do I think's happening? I'm going with du Plessis by strikes round 1 or 2. Or potentially his first decision. You never know. But Brad's definitely his toughest opponent up to this point.
Absolutely. This guy comes with a kickboxing background. I'm just excited to see Dricus back in the cage here. I think Tavares is going to look great until he doesn't. I think technically he's at a super high level. He's really sound. He's probably at a more technical high level than du Plessis. But du Plessis has that weapon, man. That right hand can take down just about anybody. I think KO is coming for Tavares. I think Tavares comes in early. I think he thinks it looks pretty easy. and then that sleeper right hand does what it does. The same way it happened to Trevin Giles. Duplessis covers up a lot. Guys make him look like he's getting beat, and then that thing comes out of nowhere. And it's a hammer, man. The guy is got weird movements. He's got good defense and just insane power. He's a little difficult to read when you see him out there. He's just not that normal stance or anything. Everything's a little bit different, a little bit quirky. But sometimes that's a very good thing because other guys can't get a real good feed on you. Listen, I'm all on the Duplessis wagon. I think this kid gets another knockout. I think this kid's built like a damn freight truck. And he keeps rolling. And I'm going to just tell you right now, guy just got printed. I'm a buyer. This guy is the spec play you want because if he can figure out all aspects of the game, he's a young kid. He's only 28. He figures out a few more little tricks and stuff. With that kind of power, you have a real shot to beat anyone. It's just how it goes. It's kind of like Josh Emmett up there. You round out all parts of your game, but you always have that fallback weapon if you're losing a couple rounds and your team says, hey, it's time to let it go. Don't try to play the point game here. Let it fly. This kid can do that, and he's been doing it. So I'm just going to keep picking him to keep going. All right.
Wait, what are you picking him with, the finish?
Oh, yeah, KO. He's going to finish him. I think he's going to finish him early, round one. I think Tavares is going to be like a little bit smoother and crisper, and then he's going to get a little comfortable, and then it's just boom, game over. All right, let's go on. We got some more middleweights here. We got Uriah Hall, ranked 9, plus 265 underdog. He's 37 years old. He's 17-10, and his last fight was that loss to Strickland, and before that he beat Weidman, Silva, and of course again Shoeface, Antonio Carlos Jr. Amazing how Shoeface likes to rip on the UFC because basically he got beat up and goes to the PFL, and he's the best in the PFL now. I'd be ripping on the UFC too if I was him. All right, he's going up against Andre Muniz, ranked 13, minus 320 favorite here. He's 22-4. He's 32 years old. He's on an 8-fight winning streak. In the last 3 fights, he won all of them by armbar, including over Ronaldo Souza, one of the best black belts ever in the UFC. That just tells you how high level this dude is. Tom, how do you see this one playing out right here?
I mean, Munoz is a third-degree black belt in BJJ, so he's up there. I mean, he's not quite my level, but he's on the way to being my level. What do I see this? I see Uriah Hall's path to victory is striking. He needs to get to this dude's chin. Uriah Hall's never been subbed, so that's to his favor. He's been around for a long time. No one has ever subbed him. What do I see here? I think we're going to see the first time he's ever been subbed. And I'm going to go with round 2 or a decision by Munoz. But my first choice is, just like Duplessis, I got him winning by strikes, but the backup is decision. I got him winning either way. Munoz, I got winning by sub, giving Uriah his first submission loss, round 2. But if not, a decision. Munoz he does kind of the Neil Magny on people. He just climbs up on them, and then they're in trouble.
Oh yeah, if he gets you on your back, you're in big trouble. I think this fight is Muniz's to lose here. I think Hall is talented. He's treated us well, but he's getting older, and he's been fighting mostly older guys, except for Strickland. But that didn't end too well for Uriah Hall on that one. I'm sure Muniz is working super hard on his hands. I'm sure he's getting better. He's going to throw some heavy strikes in there. I think he's going to do the Glover Teixeira. Just throw a few strikes to be able to grapple on you, and hopefully he can get you to the ground with some kind of sneaky jiu-jitsu move or some kind of throw, some leg kick or something of that nature. He's not a wrestler by nature where he's just going to look to pick you up over his head and slam you. But I think he's going to just do the Glover. And if this dude gets on top, I don't care if you've never been submitted. Ronaldo Souza is at that level where he doesn't get submitted either, and this kid did it to him. I'm just throwing that out there. He's got 3 arm bars in a row in the UFC in the men's division. That really doesn't happen unless you're fighting.
Well, he snapped his arm, didn't he?
He snapped it.
I thought he snapped. Yeah, he snapped his arm.
But you don't see 3 arm bar submissions by men on the high level. I mean, Ryan Hall might get a leg lock or something like that, but he's not fighting. Muniz is fighting.
Plus, the higher you go up in weight classes, the less often it happens
Right,
too.
this guy is a rare talent. Can he put it all together? That remains to be seen. Does he beat Uriah Hall? I think he easily beats Uriah Hall. I do see Uriah's path to victory. One of his crazy spinning elbows or a knee up the middle when this guy's coming in or something like that. I definitely can see his victory here. Uriah Hall's very talented. He's very explosive when he wants to be. And that could play to his advantage here. But this kid's tall. He's lengthy. I see that sub coming. He's got power. He's a full package, Muniz. If he can get you to the ground, it's over. I agree. He's not going to be able to sit there and just pick him apart and strike. But you don't have to when you're that talented elsewhere. I just don't. I don't think it. I think Hall's got the power. 37. I think age is going to start catching up with this guy for being a middleweight. Muniz here. Muniz is a screaming buy. Guy's just printed. Guy's super talented. Guy can really only go up from here. If he works out a few kinks in his game, I mean, man, he's going to be hard to beat. He's really going to be hard to beat because you're not going to want to take this guy to the ground. He wants you to go ahead and take him to the ground. All right, let's get to the only women's fight we're going to cover today. We got flyweights, Jessica Eye. She's ranked number 10, plus 240 underdog. She's 35 years old. She's 15-10, won no contest. And she's with 3 losses in a row here. We got Maya, Wood, and Calvillo all beating her. In the UFC, she has 5 wins, 9 losses, won no contest. She could be close to getting cut here. She's going up against Macy Barber, who's ranked 13, minus 285 favorite. She's 24 years old. She's 10-2. She's on that 2-fight winning streak, beating De La Rosa and Miranda Maverick in a little bit of a weird fight there. But she did look very good in the 3rd round against Maverick, and she looked very good against Montana De La Rosa. Tom, I mean, I don't want to say Jessica Eye is a bum, but how does this one play out here? 5-9, most people get caught.
It's nice that you didn't want to say that, and then you went ahead and basically said that. But she's kind of like the counter to Sam Smiley, and then on the other side you got Jessica Evil Eye. So it's like those two kind of ends, the evil and the smile, they're both being allowed to stick around. But dude, Jessica was really tough in her last fight. Actually, she lost that decision, but I actually thought that she was ahead.
She might have been ahead. It was the blood. She got her head cut open there.
She got a bad cut.
It just looked bad. Cut.
Yeah, she's tough though. She's game, and Macy's got to be aware of that. This is an old, crafty veteran that's gonna not just go away very easily. You got to put her away. And I think if Macy came out with that same energy and level of ability that she displayed in their last fight, I think she takes it by decision. I don't think Macy's very good at finishing, but I do think that she could potentially even go a 3-0 here if she comes out sharp enough and pretty much have a shutout decision win. So that's where I'm at.
All right, so Macy has been looking a lot better. She's more calculated. She's been sticking to a game plan, which we never used to see her do. Eyes on that big losing streak, as I mentioned. She hasn't looked great lately, even though she didn't look bad in her last fight. She just keeps coming out on the wrong side of it. I don't love the line here. I think Macy's going to wrestle. I think she's going to use her strength. She's going to get a decision win here. The problem is Macy starts so slow. I don't know why she starts so slow. I thought in the Miranda Maverick fight, I thought Miranda clearly had the first 2 rounds, even though judges didn't give it to her. She had the first round with all the judges, and then Macy came on late. And then she puts it on De La Rosa. I think it's going to be a little bit... You got to start fast. You can't... When you're only in a 3-round fight, you can't take the first round off. You just can't do it. You got to be able to take it. I think I may outvolume her in round 1, and then Macy should be young enough and have enough in the tank to win round 2 and 3. I think Macy used to be a finisher, and now she's just fell in love with wrestling a little bit too much. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a little bit more boring of a fight. She likes to take him down and try to beat him up a little bit, but she doesn't seek to finish like she used to when she wanted to be the world's youngest champion. Now, as far as the card market goes, I think Macy is a good speculation buy. I think she's super cheap. She's super young still, and she's printed in that 2019 Chrome, and she was printed with an auto. It's always nice. I'm pretty sure the autos were on card in that 2019 Chrome, as I mentioned before. I think she's just worth a shot for the price. She's young enough. She finds the right coach, the right team. She could be a problem going forward in this division. She's just got to put it all together at once. But at 24, she's got a little bit. She's got a couple more years. The division's getting stronger, though, not weaker, finally. So she's got to make sure she just keeps grinding at it. All right, guys, I know we missed a few fights here.
Check it. I know that me and Mark very rarely, especially, dude, we just picked 8 fights. We picked them the exact same way. That's 8 for 8. It almost never happens that me and Mark agreed on everything there. But I do want to throw out my picks for the remaining fights here just because I love this card. I'm going with Robbie Lawler. Could be a fight of the night type scrap against Barberina. I think could be fight of the night type scrap or bonuses potentially for these guys in the Jalen Turner-Brad Riddle fight. But I'm going with Jalen Turner. Jim Miller, Cerrone in the Legends bout. They're almost like who can have the most fights in the UFC bout. I'm going with Jim Miller. And on the one fight that I'm just not interested in, and they could easily have done without, it's looking like they're trying to get Jessica Rose Clark a win here. But I'm not rolling with that. I'm rolling with Stalienko.
Oh, okay, so this is where we differ here because I'm taking Jessica Rose Clark, I'm taking Donald Cerrone, and I'm taking Brad Riddell, and I am on the Robbie Lawler wagon though. But there's 3 fights we don't agree on.
Yep. Nice.
I think Riddell is just he's game. Turner's putting it on,
dude,
but
that could be another bonus fight. Riddell's no joke.
Yeah, that could easily be a bonus fight. I mean, that guy 6'3" as a lightweight. Turner. I mean, he's a big weird frame for that division. But Riddell's the striking coach for all these guys who are in the thing. And if it goes to decision, this is Adesanya Volkanovski card. This guy might have a little bit more pull, a little bit more fan base, a little bit. So I'm rolling with Riddell.
Nice.
And Jim Miller, Cerrone. I just don't think Jim Miller's going to be able to go sub Cerrone the way he does a lot of these non-veteran guys. It's like I love Jim Miller. And I mean, I love Cerrone too, but I think Cerrone.
I like a lot of both sides.
I think Cerrone's just got a little bit. I'm not going to say experience edge, but he's got the jiu-jitsu to hang with Jim Miller. He's got the experience to hang with Miller, and I think he has an advantage on the feet. But guys,
I hope the fight just happens. Like up to this point, it looks like it's still on, but Cerrone's been in a bit of a cursed situation lately. The last 2 fights were off.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this one.
And he wants to fight
happens.
more. He says he wants 50. I thought the UFC was going to give him only this one was supposed to be his last one because he's just been on such a losing streak. But all right, guys, we appreciate you joining us here live. We'll catch you up next time.